Hey boys, what's up? Welcome back to the second episode of Lonercast. Let's do this. We got a few things to talk about, some pieces of news. We're going to talk about the box office. We're going to talk about Benioff and Weiss. We're going to talk about Martin Scorsese and Bob Iger's response to Scorsese and Coppola. And we're gonna start off with the box office. And I also saw the Lighthouse, so I'll throw in a little review at the end. So let's just jump right into this, huh? So at the box office, we're gonna go down the top five and talk about the importance of it. It looks like Joker and Maleficent were so close it's hard to even tell who won. People are saying Joker got number one. People are saying Maleficent got number one. I don't know, but it's so close it doesn't even matter. But the real important thing about it is Joker is just dominating the movie theaters right now. It is now officially the number one R-rated film of all time, financially. Um, let's see. I'm gonna pull this up. Let's see how much Joker's made in its lifetime. It's made $852 million worldwide. That is an astounding amount of money. Jeez. Um, and it's well deserved, and it's awesome to see DC coming together, pulling it together, and actually making a good flick for once in their lives. That's not true. Shazam was okay. Aquaman was fun. Wonder Woman's cool. But like, come on, man. I can make a whole video about DC at some point. But right now, Joker is just dominating it. So obviously, Maleficent is at number two or number one. I don't know, but honestly, it's probably underperforming. Its total gross. Let's see. 295 worldwide, so it's making its money back, but that's not what they want to see from a movie like this. Huge, what should be blockbuster movie, popcorn film, just not performing the way they wanted to, I'm sure. At number three, we've got The Addams Family in its, third week. Yeah, it's doing its thing. At number four, we got Zombieland, which I did a review of last week. Um, doing all right, keeping its thing going. Um, oh, dude, just to bring it back to Joker for a minute, it only had a 34% drop on its fourth week. Do you realize how huge that is? This movie is still going. People are still seeing it. It's still making hella money. And then at number five, the horror movie Countdown, which looked interesting. Uh, yeah, I don't know much about it. But yeah, let's get into the news. In the news this week, last week we talked about Scorsese, Coppola, and their harsh words. Scorsese said that Marvel movies aren't cinema. Coppola said Marvel movies are despicable. Well, now Big Bobby Iger, the president slash CEO of Disney, has officially responded. Here, I'll read that quote for you. Here's what Bob Iger said. It doesn't bother me, except I'm bothered on behalf of the people who work on those movies. Francis Ford Coppola and Martin Scorsese are two people I hold in the highest regard in terms of the films that they've made, the films I've liked, the films we've all watched. But when Francis Ford Coppola uses the word despicable, well, I reserve the word despicable for someone who committed mass murder. These are movies. To whom is he talking? Is he talking to Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel, or Taika Waititi, who directs, or Ryan Coogler, who directs for us, or Scarlett Johansson or Chad Boseman? I could name a number of people. Robert Downey Jr.? He continued on and said, I think I've sounded a little more defensive than I wanted to be, because I don't really feel we need to defend what we're doing. We are in the business of, first of all, we're in the business of making money. We're a profitable business. At the same time, at Disney, we try to balance that with telling great stories to the world and infusing them with great values and supporting a employee base of well over 200,000 people around the world with great care and frankly respect. So I'm puzzled by it. If they want to bitch about movies, it's certainly their right. I love that line. I love that he said, if they want to bitch about movies, it's certainly their right. The CEO of Disney said bitch. Whoa. He continued on and said, "You're telling me Ryan Coogler making Black Panther is doing something that is somehow or another less than what Marty Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola have ever done on any one of their movies? Like, come on. Yeah, I said it." And obviously, he threw that in there because Black Panther was up for Best Picture um, and regarded as a great film. Um, it's not as good as a Scorsese film, but like, yeah, he's got a great point, and I think he said some very good things in there. Um, Scorsese came out and defended what he was saying. He kind of backtracked on what he was saying. He kind of just said, I don't have the direct quote here, but he basically said, like, Marvel movies being like an amusement park is fine because going to the amusement park is fine. But it's just sort of like backtracking. But I get where he's coming from. Now we'll see if Francis Ford Coppola actually like comes out and defends what he's saying or has other remarks, but I don't think he will. I think this is kind of a dead story at this point, so uh, we'll move on to the next thing. And hopefully we don't have to talk about that ever again because it just at this point just seems like petty nonsense, and who really cares? Honestly, it's unfortunate because I think it's taking away from Martin Scorsese's film that's coming out, The Irishman, and I'm actually pretty excited about that movie, regardless of what he says. So we'll see. Um, so another big piece of news that hit this week, or actually today, I think I just heard about this. Benioff and Weiss. If you don't know who they wrote the Game of Thrones series, and they were hired on to make a new Star Wars trilogy. They were going to write the 2022 Star Wars trilogy. And it was just announced that they've pulled out. I don't know the full story, and I don't think anyone really knows the full story. Seems like maybe they're just way too busy, but there's been a lot of like mixed messaging going on with what's going on with the films because Bob Iger said he wants to pull back and make less Star Wars films. Well, how is that possible when you're making a trilogy with Benioff and Weiss and you've also announced a Ryan Johnson trilogy? So, how would you balance those two things if you want to pull back? Would Ryan Johnson's trilogy come out in what, 10 years? Especially since they said they want to take like a 2-3 year break after episode 9 comes out in a couple weeks. So, who knows, man? But Benioff and Weiss pulling out doesn't concern me too much. It doesn't even seem like they had too much going on with the films. They hadn't announced even what the films were, just that it was a trilogy. I would assume that it would have been a Old Republic trilogy because how cool would it be, the guys of Game of Thrones making an Old Republic trilogy, but yeah, it seems like that's not going to happen. Although Kathleen Kennedy makes it seem like they ended on good terms, and she said that they're very great, just very busy. And Benioff and Weiss said that they love Star Wars, they loved getting to talk with everyone, and that their love for Star Wars hasn't changed with this going on. So it seems like everyone's on good terms, and who knows, maybe down the line they will make a trilogy, because Star Wars is going to be around forever, and I'm sure Benioff and Weiss will need work in the future. But I'm sure they're working on something right now, and the confusion with Rian Johnson and Benioff and Weiss and all that stuff kind of complicated things. Also, just sort of the poor reception of everything going on with Star Wars. It makes everything over at Disney. I'm sure they're tense with everything because it was. Oh yeah, and also it was announced that Kevin Feige was going to be working on a Star Wars film as well. So where is that going to be put in there? Or is Kevin Feige working on a Star Wars television show? I don't know. There's just like a lot of confusion going on with Star Wars, it seems, and yeah, pulling back, cutting out a trilogy is a good idea. It's unfortunate that it wasn't the Rian Johnson trilogy. Uh, Episode 8 is a train wreck of a Star Wars movie. It's a good movie. It's a train wreck of a Star Wars movie, though. It left little to be desired, so why are they bringing him back? And with the drama that's going on with Episode 9, um, the fact that they're apparently test running like 8 different endings. They don't even know how they're going to end it. They were just shooting recently, and the movie comes out like next month. Um, yeah, just a whole lot going on with Star Wars. So, we'll stay updated on that, and we'll keep talking about it. I am excited for The Mandalorian, which premieres in a few weeks when Disney Plus drops. So I will be watching that, of course. So yeah. Um, so I just kind of wanted to talk about that stuff, and I want to end this video with my review of The Lighthouse. I saw The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is a movie that is directed by the director of The Witch, which is a beautifully shot. I don't want to say horror film. I guess it's more of a drama than a horror film, but I guess it is sort of a thriller horror film directed by Robert Eggers. But he made a new movie. It's called The Lighthouse, starring Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Um, it's a movie basically about a very flatulent man in Willem Dafoe named Tom, um, and Robert Pattinson's character, who is new to working in a lighthouse. And basically, these two men get put in a lighthouse together to run it and keep it going. And throughout their time there, slowly go insane. And you just get to see these two men just delve into madness. The whole movie is shot in black and white. It's in a different aspect ratio. So instead of your standard, full screen HD that we get now of days with movies, the whole movie was in standard def. So instead of getting, a nice long rectangle, you just get a square. Beautifully shot. So interesting to see a movie like that shot today. Um, uh, Robert Pattinson really brought it in this movie, but Willem Dafoe really brought it home in this movie. Just great performances by both of them. Um, Very creepy subject matter, kind of spooky, but not like too scary. More of a thriller sort of situation, much like The Witch. Um, but it also had some comedic elements that I found surprising, even throwing in some fart humor at the beginning of the film, which is why I called Willem Dafoe a flatulent character. He farts a lot. But just watching these two men delve into madness is fantastic. It's a slow burn, but a slow burn well worth the wait. The payoff at the end of the film is great. Such a strange ending, but a great ending. Really weird shots that blew my mind in a lot of ways. The setting of the lighthouse is very eerie, and um, seeing Willem Dafoe just obliterate this character, just a fantastic performance from him. Uh, this could definitely be an Oscar contender, but with the amount of movies coming out this year, I feel like it might get overlooked in a lot of ways. But I definitely say check it out. It's a great film, um, a weird film. So prepare yourself for a weird experience. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. It's hard to do reviews when you're trying not to spoil things. um, but yeah, go check it out. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Uh, yeah, have a good day.